Hi, this is Darlene's garden. Darlene here. It's been a while since I've given you a full garden tour, and I decided today's the day I am going to do that. So I'm sitting here on the steps going up to my porch. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's a beautiful day. A little warm, I think it's 86 out here, but I'm in the shade, so it's not quite that warm. So let's go ahead and get started on my tour of my garden. Let me flip you around and we'll look at what I'm looking at. Okay, over here I have my asparagus bed, and most of it's kind of over there behind this little jungle of plants. I have Brassicas, and I'm not sure exactly what kind they are, whether they're cabbage or broccoli or what. I just don't know because I don't have any labels there anymore, but as you can see, they've gone to seed. That's tall. And down here I have some arugula and some kohlrabi. Kohlrabi's kind of in the shade, so hopefully you can see it over there in that one pot. You focus in on it. I have this what do you call, stinging nettle. I have some onions planted here. More arugula. Back in there I've got some red veined sorrel. I've got some on both sides, and some lavender and rosemary in the back, and a lemon balm plant back there too. You can't really see it. Oh, and I think this is, it's either Swiss chard or beet, and I'm not real sure which. And I've got one Brad's Atomic tomato plant in there. This area gets more shade than the rest of the garden, so I decided not to focus on tomatoes in there. I do believe I have some radishes planted right in. Let's see, right in this area. Let's see if you can, I think that looks like a radish, if I'm looking at the right thing there. It's hard to, yeah, there's what I'm looking at. Radish, it looks like radish to me. And over here I have, I'm thinking it's either borage, or it could possibly be artichoke. I had both in there last year and neither one came back, but I think maybe it's the borage. And I have some parsley snuck down in there. You can see it. Okay, so much for that particular bed. Over here I have things in pots. Got basil, tomatoes. Tomatoes are a little sunburnt, but they'll be okay. Basil's got a little bit of sunburn on them too. They were well acclimated, but where they were acclimated to was not full sun. Okay, over here I have, let me make this so you can see it a little better. I have this little hoop thing. At the bottom I have a runner bean on there, and there's peas coming up, and there's some tomato, well actually I think they're Aunt Molly's that are in there, and a tomato, some kales that went to seed. I've got lettuce can see the lettuce there and lettuce over here. And I need to trim this off. I see one of them starting to bloom. I need to trim it off. That's catmint. Over there I have some, I believe I have an amaranth and a borage. In the it's not a green stalk, it's a Dollar Tree stalk. I have lettuce and various other little herbs and stuff that are really small right now. I have a carrot down in there and some I forget what you call it. It's a weed and I've been pulling it out, but it's an edible weed. Oh, and that's celery. Okay. I have the flower right there is a calendula. Over here in this bed I have calendulas, tomatoes, kale, lots of arugula, more tomatoes, some peppers. Everything's really small right now. More calendula, my cabbage tree that I have referred to before, that's like, I think this is his 4th season. Over here I have some mint growing in a pot, and a pot that just has grass in it, which I'm gonna clean out and put something in there. I haven't quite decided what yet. So here's my beans that I planted right there, and hopefully it's gonna go up and over. That's the plan. If you know what this is, please let me know. I don't know if it's a flower or a weed, but it's pretty, so I left it. I planted a horseradish, and I don't know if it's really hasn't come up yet. Strawberries amongst some grass that I need to weed out. Here I have a tomato and some herbs. I have another Dollar Tree stalk. It's supposed to be 3-tiered, but I like the look of the 5 tiers better. I've got more empty ones that I'm going to make more out of. Just haven't done it yet. Parsley, volunteer, they're either onions or garlics, I'm not sure which. They kind of almost look like garlics. My herbs. And here I planted various Aunt Molly's and tomatillo in the center. There's a tomatillo in the center here too. This is my lilac tree that I kind of semi-bonsai'd it. There are tomatoes in the pot, so as well as other things, some herbs and flowers. So that's that area. Walking around on this side of the house, I notice on my screen it looks violet, or more of a magenta, but it's a really dark purple. There's more. Oh yeah, you can see the color better in the shade. My worm bins. And my, whatever this is, and I've always thought it was a type of hydrangea. Let me know if you think it's something, if you think you know what it is. It may or may not come out with a little white kind of flower. It usually, because we kept it trimmed down, it probably won't bloom. That's another thing that makes me think it's a type of hydrangea. But we didn't want it to grow up over the window. For one thing, to scratch the screen. For another thing, we didn't want that room shaded out. My worm bins. As we walk around here, I have more irises and a raspberry plant, and then my whole raspberry patch. And we actually have some blooms. So that's going to have raspberries. Usually starts in June. Lots of blooms coming on. So I'll head over this direction. Here I have grapes. Oh, look. There's some, I can't tell if I'm showing you, some grapes coming on there, and there, right behind my hand. My starts that I'm not going to plant out yet. We have more grapevines. Ah, yes, look, behind my hand. There we go. I'm actually going to have grapes. More, some down here. Oh, I'm really pleased. Last year I had one little thingy of grapes and they didn't amount to much, but it looks like I'm going to have quite a few this year. That's pleasing to me. Okay, here's my Blackberry Brambles. Looks like these are old canes. Need to figure out how to unbramble all of this. But these will bloom. They'll get blooms and come on a little later in the summer. The raspberries come first. Raspberries actually, and maybe July, because I remember when I was growing up and my summer job was picking strawberries and then raspberries. July 4th weekend was usually when we started on the raspberries. But with those raspberries in bloom, that might happen sooner. Okay. Plum tree. I doubt if we have plums. One of the first few years that we lived here, we had plums, and we haven't had them since. So it's a beautiful tree, though. Okay, got a few apples coming on. They're awful tiny. They just got through blooming. So we'll have a few. Not as many as previous years. The blossoms were a little sparse this year. I haven't cleaned out the water feature yet, But I did plant some plants. I got peppers, and then I put zinnia seeds in there. And the eagle needs to be fixed. He belongs on top of this pole. If ever anything happens to me and my hubby, there's some grave markers here. There are no graves. These are from my parents. My daddy's marker, when after Mama passed away, she changed it out to have one that had both of their names on it. So I got his marker, the one that he had for years. It needs to be cleaned off. It's got bird poo on it. And then the marker that was on hers until they put the double one on there. So every time I come out here, I can give honor to Cecil and Marie Bloxam, wonderful people who adopted me when I was 6 months old and raised me, loved me, as if I was their natural child. This is kind of a memorial, just as a memorial to no one in particular, to everyone in general. I just like the way it looked there. It looks looks like it needs to be a memorial, so that's what it is. To no one in specific and everybody in general. May all who have gone before us rest in peace. All right, just scan the whole yard here. We were just over there. Where my garden area is. And we're going to walk down here where my garlic and potatoes are. All right. My compost pile. As I've needed to mulch things, I take it out of this end. And when I add things, I add it to the other end. I need to come out here with a fork and try to flip things over. And I also need to come out and we have some garlic in the back here and kales that have gone to seed, which I need to harvest and bring inside. Lots of garlic in here, along with grass, which I need to pull out. And here is my potato patch. Not every single potato came up, and I'm trying to remember which ones were the grocery store ones, but I have a feeling these are the ones that I purchased, the ones that are looking good. And I had more than would fit in here, so I put some in this little bitsy raised bed. So that's looking good. I will have a tomato harvest, or potato. I will have a potato harvest. This is to keep the squirrels from hopping around in there. So I come around here. I haven't planted anything in here yet. I need to put dirt in there so I can have daffodils, a few of them, mostly grass. Oh, yes, I'm glad. Yay! I see something amazing. All of my irises have been purple, and a couple years ago I went across the street to the neighbors with their permission and got some yellow ones. I don't know if you can see them, they're way in the back there. And planted them. This is the first year that they're going to bloom. Yellow irises. So it would be nice to have iris that's not purple. I love the purple ones, but I wanted other colors too. So looks like a yellow iris, just about ready to bloom. Some of my projects coming up are coming out to these various areas where there is grass, and pulling the grass away. Some of it I can plant seeds in. This area, I always have trouble growing anything other than weeds. However, my ground cherry, wrong name, Jerusalem artichoke is coming up here. Jerusalem artichoke. Trying to remember the slang term for them. This is just all weeds and a catnip plant and a wild violet. A couple of tulips, a wild violet. I'm supposed to have in here can't think of the name of it, but that's okay. I don't seem to have one. And this, it looks, down in here, looks like a bleeding heart to me, but I don't remember planting one. But it's there. Daffodils, wild violets, I'm pretty sure that's what oh! Look at that one's in bloom already. Yay! Oh, amazing. Yes, that is so pretty. Okay, wild rose. And I don't know what this is, but it came up and it's nice and tall. Okay, so here we have purple irises, wild rose, spent daffodils. This is kind of a salmon colored rose, not a wild one. I need to, as soon as it blooms, I can start deadheading and kind of work on getting it a little shorter. Lilacs. Not as many on the tree this year as usual, but it smells good. Okay, and under here, oh, that looks sick. Tomatoes that I planted, and it doesn't look like they get watered. I planted them here on the basis that the ground was a little bit damp after the lawn got watered, but apparently not enough, because those look like they died. I guess that's what happens sometimes. Well, that one's still doing fine. And so is that one. That one's a little sickly. My bottle tree is right there. And over here. And this one needs to be put back together. I'm going to put it on a planter that's down on the other end. This planter keeps getting blown off of its pedestal. more purple irises. And this is fennel. Well, not as much smell yet. Usually smells like licorice. There's a different kind of an iris. Blueberries. Here we have various things in pots, mostly tomatoes and some yarrow. Okay, I'm gonna go, oh, and aren't my poppies spectacular? California poppies, and I don't know if I originally planted these or if I didn't, but they come up every year and they're just glorious. And I have lots of hens and chicks down in here too. This area doesn't get watered. That's just, they just grow. My desert wheelbarrow. Okay, let me go over here first. I need to plant. These are chards, I think. I need to plant more Swiss chard and maybe some beets in this area. From the back side, my irises and a lot of grass. A wild rose, and I think that's a Virginia creeper. Okay, so I have here my corn, some winter squash, and some peas and tomatoes and peppers kind of coming up in there. Everything's really short because it just got planted, not less than a week ago. And some bean type things. There's another Jerusalem artichoke. And these are ground cherries in here. Planted some onion sets in there too. They haven't come up yet. Just planted them. My onion border is coming up nicely, and I have marigold, peppers, and I forgot what that was. A dahlia. This quite beautiful here, pansy, and my I need to come out and harvest some of this. I guess it's the heat got to it. My borage. And another dahlia, and my brain's losing it. Coneflower. Here we've got those little flowers that come up early in the spring, and some peonies, catmint, my ground cover out here, the front side of the irises. I need to put in a bunch of compost and potting soil and get something planted in here. My lilies are going to be blooming soon. I have catmint, butterfly bush, I think that looks like a hollyhock, but it's never grown into a hollyhock. And Cosmos, that's what that other one down there that I couldn't think of was. And this is another coneflower. This one came up from last year. Snapdragon, nasturtiums, weeds, violas, and I can never remember. I looked up once, I found the name of these, and then I can never remember it. Okay, nasturtiums back there, and artichoke and some peppers. My irises here are just about gone. They're the ones that bloom first. I forget the name of that pink flower, but it's beautiful. And this is like a fire plant. I forget the exact name of this plant. Over there, between my spent tulips and daffodils, I have a few kind of spindly tomatoes, and here lots of hens and chicks. My roses are not in bloom yet, but they should be soon. They usually start blooming in June. Here we've got honeysuckle and a white lilac. Another, this will be a purple if it blooms, and rose and rhubarb, and my just give me a second, I'll remember the name. Sunflowers, cucumbers, and a yarrow, and some various peppers. Okay, I'm sitting in the house. We got the air conditioner on, and that feels really good. It's 86 degrees out there. Excuse me. So I was getting hot, and I still didn't remember the name of that one. It's a climbing flower, and I don't know why I can't think of the name of it. For a while I had it written down on the post right there that it's climbing up, and that seems to have worn off because I always forget the name of it. But what I wanted to talk to you about before I sign off today is just God's presence in our lives. My garden is hallowed ground. The reason it is because wherever a person that believes in God and Jesus is, there God is. And where God is hallowed ground. And my garden is truly hallowed ground. I pray that God will bless my garden with abundance. I pray that He will bless your gardens with abundance. And don't ever forget that it is holy ground wherever you walk, because you belong to God. God belongs to you. Where He is, you are where He is wherever you are, and wherever He is holy ground. So on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, May the good Lord richly bless you. Thank you for coming along with me on my garden tour today, out in the 86-degree hot. It's a dry hot, too. It isn't a lot of my YouTube friends that I watch are from the south, where it gets humid. Not so here. Oh, we might have an occasional humid day, but most of our hot is a dry hot. We are on the deserty side of Oregon. Our elevation's about 1,700 feet more. That's kind of round number. So it's hot and dry. And yes, it is rattlesnake country, but we live in the city, and I've lived in this house over 20 years. I have yet to see a rattlesnake. I've seen like maybe 2 garter snakes in that whole time. So we have enough rabbits and birds and what have you that I think that kind of keeps the snakes away. I hope, because talk about being afraid. If you ever ask me what one thing in life I'm afraid of, I will say snakes. That is what I am the most afraid of in this whole world. And I've had some really close experiences with rattlesnakes. I've never been bitten, but I've been that close. Well, may the good Lord richly bless you. And I will talk to you on my next video. Darlene, signing out from Darlene's Garden. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Hit that thumbs up or down, either one, depending on whether you like the video or not. And I'll see you next time. Bye.